just before dawn at Lake Atkins, and these bass tournament anglers are getting ready to hit the water.
All right, guys, just like always, number one priority is safety. Everybody have a life jacket.
Tournament director Garrett Van Wee goes over the rules with the group of about 30 anglers who have braved cool, windy conditions to compete on this Saturday morning in April.
If you guys don't have any questions, hit me up now. If not, see you guys back here at 3.
But you won't hear the roar of outboards cranking up at this takeoff, because these guys are hitting the water in kayaks. While fishing from a kayak is nothing new, the popularity of the sport has exploded over the past few years. According to the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation, the percentage of anglers taking kayak fishing trips has more than doubled, from 2.3% in 2010 to 5% in 2016. While 5% may not sound like a big number, that accounted for more than 44 million fishing trips in 2016 alone.
Kayak fishing is blowing up.
James Whited is a competitive kayak fisherman and also owns Conway's H24 Outdoors, which specializes in kayaks and kayak fishing accessories. It's one of a number of outfitters across the state catering to this new breed of fishermen. Whited started the business a little over a year ago, and business has been booming.
It's been crazy. We didn't anticipate. I mean, we exceeded our first year expectations. We started with the idea of having affordable kayaks, not necessarily the top of the top end. We wanted kind of more bang for the buck. That's kind of what we shot for when we started. I think we've achieved that.
Affordability is one of the main reasons for kayak fishing's rising popularity. While you can expect to spend anywhere from $10,000 for a used bass boat to more than $100,000 for a high-end model, purchasing a kayak is much easier on the wallet.
Well, first off, you're going to need a boat. We've got really good fishing kayaks starting at around $649. Our best-selling boat is a Seaghost 110 at $829. That comes with paddle, rudder. It's ready to go. Then you'll need a PFD. We have PFDs that start at, $50 and go up from there. Obviously, your rods and reels, that's venturing into an interesting thing. But we do carry Manly rods, which is a rod specifically designed for kayak fishing. And then we stock baits that you won't find everywhere else. At least that's what we strive for.
Another major attraction of the kayak is the ability to customize the boat.
Unlike a bass boat where everything's kind of set up where it is, you can set a kayak up any way you want it. So it really becomes an extension of the angler. I mean, guys sticker them up. They put stickers all over them. They put rod holders and trolling motors. And, we saw the evolution of the pedal drive come in, so now pedal drives have entered the market, but now we're starting to see more people asking about trolling motor mounts. For lack of a better term, there's lots of customization. I mean, even from how you store your tackle on your kayak, because you have to be a minimalist almost when you're in a kayak. But in a bass boat where you'll have 6 or 7 bags of baits, Kevin Van Dam recently said he's got 30 rods in his boat at one point in time. You can't have that on a kayak. That being said, there's guys that come up with some really innovative and creative ways to stow stuff on. There's just 100 ways to outfit a kayak.
The rise in popularity can be seen on social media, where a simple search shows a multitude of tournament organizations throughout Arkansas. The Kayak Bass Anglers of Central Arkansas, which sponsored the tournament on Lake Atkins, has almost 1,000 members on its Facebook page. It's one of 4 groups that compete on the Razor Yak Tournament Trail. Each group stages a series of tournaments around the state, with the top anglers from each circuit advancing to the Razor Yak State Championship in the fall. Unlike the professional bass tours, you won't see any big productions with anglers showing off their fish at the afternoon weigh-in. Kayak tournament success is based on the length of the fish caught, with the aggregate length of the angler's total catch determining the standings. Landing the fish is just half the battle. Kayak tournament anglers are required to place the fish on a standardized measuring device and then photograph their catch with a daily identifier visible in the snapshot. Fish are then quickly released, which makes this measuring system easier on the bass.
One of the things that's nice about kayak fishing is the fish doesn't get handled that much. So it preserves the fishery. We're putting the fish right back in the lakes.
Garrett Morgan has been competing in kayak tournaments for a little more than a year and says the camaraderie of the kayak fishing community is a major draw.
The thing that's most attractive about doing the kayaks is everybody's pretty nice, pretty cordial. Not that, guys, on the other segment aren't. It's just we're more open to sharing information because we're about trying to help anglers that are, trying to learn the sport.
Simmons gave me a buzz, buddy.
And I think that's what you get with a little bit smaller community when you go into the kayak circuit.
Morgan says fishing the tournaments allows him to satisfy his competitive nature while also taking care of things on the home front.
I think being a dad, I have 2 kids, I like to tournament fish. And I'm not going to break the bank at home going out, and most of our tournaments are around 25 to 30 bucks. I'm not buying tons of gas for a boat. I don't have a huge boat payment, not paying insurance on a boat. I can still be competitive and still be sure I'm taking care of things at home.
Another attraction is the ability to get to places in the kayak that he may not have been able to reach in a bigger boat.
The draw for me, and I would say for other people, is accessibility. You want to drive this to work, and as soon as you get off work, go fish. I do that quite a bit. So there's nothing to it to drive up to the boat ramp, throw it out, throw a couple poles on there and paddle out and start fishing. I get access to a lot of spots, not only fishing, but duck hunting as well using my kayak. There's lots of creeks and things that you can get in that, a little bit harder for bigger boats to get in.
And you can't forget the main attraction, the thrill of hooking into a big fish that takes you for a ride.
There's something to be said for the ride that you go on when you hook into a 6, 7, 8 pounder in one of these here, and they're kind of pulling you out to the sea, as I call it, out to the middle of the lake, and you're trying to get your net out, wrestle it back to the boat, and there's an adrenaline rush there that you just don't get out of a larger boat.
Whether it's affordability, accessibility, simplicity, or just the thrill of a tug on the line, the allure of kayak fishing is sure to keep reeling in new anglers.